Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to kind of bring this back for a moment to kind of the human element of this here. You know, we heard earlier from some that the minority party, that all we care about is the rich and the wealthy and, you know, whoever that might be. Well, let me tell you a little bit about my background. So my dad is one of 11 children. Okay, he grew up about as poor as you can imagine. Grew up in Baltimore City. How did he get dental care? He went to the dental school to get free dental care at the University of Maryland. How did he get his hair cut? Went down to the barber college there and got his hair cut that way. That's the experience that I had growing up. Everything that I've ever had, I was the first person in my family to go to college. I have several small businesses now. Everything that I've ever had, I've gotten because I worked hard to do so. You know, to the gentleman from Baltimore City, I hear you. And you know, I respect you a lot. I care very deeply about your mom. We've had this conversation before, I think. Your mom was my librarian at school. I care very deeply about her. I care very deeply about everybody in this room. I care very deeply about everyone in Maryland. I'm not sure, though, that these policies are not leaving many of us behind. You know, for the gentleman from Montgomery County, we heard earlier that the most patriotic thing you can do is pay your taxes. Well, I think some of the Gold Star families that I've met with might disagree with that. They might not think that that's the most patriotic thing you can do is pay your taxes. I think that might be a little bit more patriotic to lay your life on your line for the country. You know, we heard that these tax policies, they don't have any impact on businesses. We heard, for instance, that Amazon, they don't consider these things when they're going to come to this state or whether they're going to leave the state or whatever the case might be. Well, I can tell you that's patently not true. You know, my colleague, my seatmate, she and I met with Amazon right before the session started. We have a very big Amazon center at Trade Point Atlantic. What did Amazon say to us? Amazon said in no uncertain terms, very clearly to us, that if you move some of these fees, some of these delivery fees forward, which thankfully are not in this budget, we will no longer expand that facility. So they're paying very close attention to what we're doing. And it's not just Amazon. Businesses are paying very close attention to what we're doing in this state. You know, I represent a very blue-collar district. A very blue-collar district. I was sitting recently with someone. We have one of the largest mobile home communities in the state in my district. Sitting with a lady recently who was just literally crying to me because she can't afford to, pay her electric bill. She can't afford to get her groceries, those sorts of things. These policies are having a real impact on real people. You know, to the gentleman from Southern Maryland who referenced the study from UMBC recently, when 53% of the residents of this state are saying that they're thinking about leaving because of what we're doing, that's real deal stuff. What we're doing here is having a real impact on real people. And I think we need to think long and hard before we continue to just kind of push the green button on more and more taxes. All the states around us, which by the way are not all Republican-controlled states. As a matter of fact, most of them are either controlled by the Democratic Party or they have mixed governments. They've gotten it right. They're either running huge surpluses right now or reducing the size of government or many of those sorts of things. They're getting it right. You know, Virginia's talking about giving a big rebate to their taxpayers. Pennsylvania's talking about giving a big rebate to their taxpayers. Pennsylvania's talking about cutting $1 billion from their budget in a rebate to their taxpayers. These policies that we're doing here in Maryland have an impact, not only on the citizens of our state, but regionally. Businesses can leave. They can go to other places. People can leave. That's what the UMBC study said. People are going to leave. They are leaving. You know, I think that we need to think about, some of the things, the general lady talked about some of the policies of the past, some of the things that we've done. And education is extremely important to all of us in this room. It's particularly important to me. I've got 6 kids. But I'll tell you that I'm not sure that some of the things that we're doing in this budget are getting at the root of some of our problems. Now, I know that I've seen recently the general lady from Baltimore City and others are having discussions about things like chronic absenteeism. I think we need to be doing more, frankly, inside of this budget and some of the other things that we've got going on here about that. We can spend as much money as we want in our education system, but if kids aren't inside of schools, It doesn't matter. I have a school in my district, an elementary school, that on any given day, I'm going to say this number, 63% of the kids may not be in the classroom at an elementary school. We're not talking about a high school. We're not talking about where kids are walking in the front door and out the back door. We're not talking about kids that are jumping off the bus. We're talking about an elementary school. It's a big problem. And we can keep on throwing more money at that problem, but until we get at the root of that problem, we won't correct some of these issues that we see with failing test scores and proficiency issues and things like that. We've got real problems. And I think we're glossing over many of those problems in this budget. So for that, I'm going to be voting red. Madam Speaker, I appreciate the time. Thank you.